few students here. On this Tuesday night, on 5 after 7, if he gets that to go. And let's just looking at numbers, I guess. Numbers on jerseys. Sam Kalinga is number 50. He's number 8. Someone's going to wind up in the so that's what the delay is tonight. That's the numbers, and they're going to send number 4, John Miller, into the starting lineup on the front line. John is a 6'6" sophomore, member from last year out of Stillwater, Minnesota. All right, I think we're about ready to go now. And McCracken will be back to serve. To get this match underway, and here's the first serve of the night. Good dig by the Yellow Jackets, and this one into the net is John Miller, who came in, number 4, tried to kill and put it right into the net, so the Vikings take the early lead. McCracken back to serve, one of our best. He's a senior out of the state of California. Tosses it high and sends it over, another dig, and they'll take it to their left side, and this one is long, and it's quickly 2-0. That's what the Vikings want to do, James. Get out to a good quick start.
Yeah, that's a key thing. I think part of the problem might be right now is the Vikings have some big blockers up front, so they're going to try to think around that one. They hit long first one, they put in the net.
So 2-0, this serve goes long as McCracken was trying for an ace, and that one went long. So it's 2-1. And serving will be Solila Tucker out of Hawaii. He is a 6-foot freshman. Sends it over. Vikings will set. They'll go to their right, and they're going to get the point. As who was that on that far right side?
Jake Pedersen on that far
Pedersen?
right. Now he's going
Jacob Pedersen gets the point. It's quickly 3-1 Vikings. Back serving is Pedersen. Sends it over. Good serve, and nothing that DJ Wong could do with that one. Served it right into the... And it's quickly a 4-1 Viking lead as Pedersen puts the top of the tape, rolls it over. Well, that's when you hot your hat, huh?
Yeah, you can't do anything about that. Really put in quite a few years ago now that net server can hit and go over, and it's hard to defend. 2 aces early for Pedersen now.
So it's quickly 5-1 Vikings here in the first. This is a young Graceland team. He did it again. Did this one go out? No, this one did not stay in. He hit the top of the tape again, tried to send it down the left side. It just went out. So it's 5-2. And back to serve is Rice Dawson. Dawson out of Hawaii sends this one long. Watching it go long was Ding Hui. Hui was back there and just let that one go long. It was quickly 6-2. This is a veteran Viking club.
And it's against a very young Nets club. They have 1 senior. I think it's just the only 2 juniors, so a bunch of freshmen and sophomores.
Yeah, you look at their roster, it's almost as you said, freshmen, sophomores. A good block in the middle, and the Vikings get yet another point. Bumstead was there, and also Lucas Were. So it's quickly 7-2 here in the first. Almost. That is an ace as Kalingo couldn't go down and get it. And the Vikings on a pretty good run, and a quick timeout has been taken by Chad McDowell. And James, it looks like, at least in the early going, that the Yellow Jackets are a little overmatched.
Yeah, it could be thing, and it could be against a young team playing the first game of the season. It's going to get them a little bit.
Season, that's right.
Take a little while to warm up because they lost a lot of veteran leadership with all those seniors that graduated last year.
Yeah, they had a bunch. As you said, only 1 senior, and that is the libero, Sam Kalingo. He's the only senior on this club. A couple of juniors, and the rest are sophomore and freshmen. So very, very young squad.
That's something that the Vikings dealt with the last few years ago. They would only have 1 or 2 seniors and just a bunch of freshmen and sophomores, but now they got 5 seniors, so it's something for the Jackets fans to look forward to, is that they could be very good in the next few years once this group gets playing together for a few years.
Quick timeout taken by the Yellow Jackets. Let's see if the Vikings will continue this roll here. Back to serve is Jacob Haar. And Haar sends it over.
And that was a double contact on Salita Tucker.
So it is quickly 9-2. Well, we've got 8-2 up there, but it should be 9-2. Here's hard serve, and this was into the net. So it'll be 8-3.
The Jackets have all the points on Viking service errors.
Yeah. Back to serve will be Trevor Brewster. Brewster, a freshman out of Lee Summit, Missouri. And Coach Chad McDowell off the bench to talk to him. He sends it over. Good dig by the Vikings. And they send it over. Now the Yellow Jackets will get this one over. Vikings will send it. They try to dink it over, but it goes right to John Welsh, and Welsh scores. The young man out of Fort Worth, Texas, makes it 9-4.
Yeah.
I thought we had another point. It's 9-4. Yeah.
Stan Bosovic tried to tip it over, but they think he was just kind of mistiming it. So, but Welsh did a nice job staying up there and blocking it.
Miles South up talking to his team. 9-4 is our score. And there's a serve into the net by Brewster. So it's 10-4. Vikings take the lead. (10-4) Valley. And back to serve is Joao Amaro. Joao sends it over. And good cross-court kill by John Welsh. Boy, he went up for that one. Young man out of Lee Summit with the left hand makes it 10-5.
Yeah, that's the one thing the Vikings don't have on this club is a left-handed opposite. So hopefully that can be very dangerous.
So here's Welsh with the serve. Gets a lot on that one. The Vikings able to control it. And this one sent over. It's going to be a point for the Vikings as one of the Yellow Jackets in the net.
Looks like they called Tucker in the net.
Tucker into the net. Bumstead was there and went into the net.
That'd give a break for the Vikings because Bumstead was trying to tip it over the tape and it rolled across and landed back on the Viking side.
Victor Malgayas comes in and he will serve. (11-5) here in the first. Sends it over. Good dig. And the Vikings dig this one out. Good job there by Way. And the Vikings get the point. Boy, they're just controlling that net area, aren't they?
Yeah, that was Zach Brown on that opposite side putting that one straight down.
So it's 12-5. Victor serving again in a hurry. And that might have been long, but they went ahead. And Vikings did to get it anyway. And now, good dig by Way. Vikings have this one blocked, but they keep it alive. And point's going to go to the Yellow Jackets, make it 12-6.
And they called Joao on either a lift or a double contact on that set going outside.
So back to serve will be DJ Wong, another Hawaiian. A lot of Hawaiians on both of these teams. A lot of Brazilians on the Valley squad. And this one comes our way. It's going to be a Viking point. Diving for it was Kyle Aker. Couldn't get to it. He's out of Eden, New York. And the Vikings get that point to make it 13-6 here in the first. Best of 5. James will call the second one for you. And here's the serve from Brandstetter. Good job by the Yellow Jackets. Get it over, but the Vikings recognize. Now they're three-balled it over. And the Vikings get this one over, but it's going to be a point for the Yellow Jackets. Really didn't set it up that time, the Yellow Jackets, James. They just went to it and make sure they got it over the net.
Yeah, there was a little bit of a tight pass, so Tucker just kind of went over on two and almost caught the Vikings off guard.
So 13-7. Here's the serve. And good job by the Yellow Jackets to keep this one alive. Now they'll send it in. Vikings with a good dig. A good block by Salila Tucker, and he gets the kill. Good job from the right side. 13-8. Yellow Jackets making a run here.
They are. That was a really nice block. He was the only one up.
Chris Roxburgh the serve. And the Viking, good dig by the Yellow Jackets. They keep it alive. Now they'll tip it over. Vikings are there. They go to the middle, and they're going to get the kill. And going up for that was Jacob Haar, the 6'7" senior out of La Mesa, California.
Yeah, you're seeing the Yellow Jackets go a lot out of that back row with the 10 ball, and that's something they've done quite a few times last few years. Different guys running it this year as the young team, but they'll still run the same things.
Will McCracken back to serve. It's 14-8. And he sends it over. This one into the net as the Vikings go for the double block, and they'll get the point. 14-9. Should be 15-9, I believe.
No, but that was a Yellow Jacket point.
Oh, Yellow Jacket point. 14-9. Okay.
I think it hit the
came down on the Viking end.
Hit the hands of Jake Harn. Okay. Kind of came down right in front of him.
All right, I thought it came down on the other side of it. So 14-9. Salila Tucker will serve. Good dig by the Vikings. And another double block, but this goes out, so the Vikings get the point as John Mueller and John Welch serve for the double block, but it goes out. So now there's 15-9. And back to serve will be Pedersen. Yellow Jackets, who hit it into the net. Little indecision there by John Welsh, and he hit it into the net to junior out of Fort Worth to make it 16-9.
Yeah, it looked like the timing was a little off, and the set wasn't where he wanted to be in the left. You need to farther out on that left side.
So Pedersen will serve again. This one is over. Good dig by Kalingo, and there's a kill. They get this one to Mueller, and he didn't miss it. 16-10.
Tucker did a nice job. That ball was right on top of the net. He put it up just in the right spot, and Mueller was able to put it straight down.
So Rice Dawson will serve. Good jump serve. Pedersen with a dig. Vikings send it over. But we're going to have a point for Valley as one of the Yellow Jackets in the net to make it 17-10. Valley's pretty much controlled this first set.
And that was a John Mueller that came down the net trying to block Jake Harr on that one.
Harr with the serve, gets it over. Kalingo. Now this one into the net. Kalingo with a dig, but putting in the net, DJ Wong, and it's 18-10. Harr back to serve again. And they let this one go. No, it's on the line. Kalingo wanted to let it go, and that was very close, but he hit right on the line, James. Yeah. Another ace.
Well, what I saw was straight on the line. Nice call there by the line coach.
So it's 19-10. Here's Harr's serve. Kalingo sends it over, and now point for the Vikings. Double hit. 20-10. Valley rolling here in the first.
And that previous serve by Harr was his second ace, so he's tied with Jake Pedersen. It's 9 aces with 2. Valley has 4.
And now another timeout, I think, has been taken by Graceland. It's 20-10. Graceland with yet another timeout. Basketball coming up on Thursday night as the Evangel ball clubs will be in. 5:30 and 7:30. We'll have those games on live stream and also on Stretch Internet. So this weekend, the Viking volleyball team will host the Viking Invitational. Cardinal Stritch will be in, Lindenwood, Belleville, Warner University. That'll be this Friday and Saturday.
Yeah, there's a couple of big matches with Cardinal Stritch and Warner both being right above the Vikings in the rankings.
It's 20-10. Valley with the lead here in the first.
I guess because the Vikings are handling the Jackets in this first set, don't expect it to continue that way. As they played 3 times last year, 2 of the games went to 5 sets.
Really? All right, Harback to serve again, 20-10, and he'll send this one over. And good dig by Valley. They'll keep this one alive. Good dig by Kalingo for Graceland. Now to the middle, and flying in there. Getting the kill was Rice Dawson. He's only a 6-footer, but he can get up. It's 20-11.
And you've seen that before with the Yellow Jackets having a smaller guy on the outside, because they had Anthony Robinson the past 4 years. Small guy could hit out of back row and front row.
Trevor Brewster to serve. And double block, but it goes out, so the Vikings get the point, 21-11. So they've been really in charge throughout this first set. Back to serve will be Joao Amaral, or Amaral, I should say. Joao out of Rio de Janeiro. And here's his serve. We blast that one over. Good dig by the Yellow Jackets. They take it to the middle, but it's blocked by Har, and Har gets the point, 22-11.
Hey, that's Bumstead actually in the front row right now.
Bumstead, yeah. Bumstead number 15, Har number 77. Bumstead 6'5", Har 6'7". So Amaral will serve again. Sends it over way deep. Tried to get just a little too much on that one. It's 22-12. John Walsh will serve for the left hand, hits the tape, but the Vikings stay with it. Dink it over, and they're going to, well, not going to get it quite yet. They'll free ball it over with the Yellow Jackets. Quilly keeps it alive, and now it's off the hands of one of the Jackets. They'll set it again, though. Go to the middle. Good job by the Vikings to keep it alive. And they'll send this one over. Good volley going on right here. And there's Bumstead going up and just knocking that one over. Got high above that tape and sent it down, 23-12.
Yeah, good hang time to stay up there and just get a hand on it as he's coming down. The Vikings are 2 points away from this first set.
And Victor Magalhães will serve. Victor's a sophomore. Sends it over. Good double block by the Vikings. They get the point. Pedersen was there along with Bumstead. 24-12 here in the first. And into the net. Magalhães with his serve goes right into the net. It's 24-13.
That's 5 service errors for the Vikings in this first set.
DJ Wong will serve. Sends it long, and the Vikings win the first, 25-13. So the Vikings jumped out to an early lead. And they take it 25-13. We'll be back with the second in just a moment.
Carlos, not to give this team any momentum. As they had those 4 matches in Cincinnati, they swept 3 of them.
Yeah.
And then the other one that was a 3-1 victory. So it's only a 4 sets once out of the first 4.
All right. Once again, looks like we're having some problems with some numbers or whatever the case may be here. Vikings won the first, 25-13. And James looks like back to serve is Solita Tucker, and take it away here in the second.
It's Tucker's jump serve to begin the second set is over, dug out there by the Vikings. They're going to go on the slide play to hard. He's going to get the kill, as it looked like it was Mueller who was called in the net. But Dawson was also up in there. A little bit of a new thing that they did not show in that first set. Now we're cracking back to serve for the Vikings. His jump serve is hard, and it's going to be another ace. That's the 5th ace of the night for the Vikings. First one for Will McCracken. 2-0 early on here in the second set for the Vikings. McCracken still back serving. The jump serve is over, dug out there by Dawson. They're going to go back to him, tipped over, and no Viking is there. So Dawson, nice rig just to tip that one in the open space and get the Jackets on the board, and now go back to serve. And Dawson's jump serve is into the net. 3-1 now for the Vikings. As Stan Bosovic is checking into the front row. Dick Patterson jump serve is over, dug out there by the Jackets into the middle, tipped over, nice dig there by McCracken. On the opposite side there, Warner, but he gets it double blocked as that was Mueller, and also Gible was up, and it looked like Mueller got most of that one. And now Trevor Brewster is going back to serve. His float serve is over, dug out there by the Vikings. Into the middle of Hard, he gets another kill. Nice job there by Hard in the middle to put that one straight down and get the kill. And he's going to go back to serve, 4-2 for the Vikings. And Kalinga will be checking in for Brewster in the back row. And Hard's jump serve is over, dug out there by the Jackets. On the outside, tipped over, McCracken digs that one up. And they're going to send it out to Warren, who's going to tip it over. It's an easy free ball for the Jackets. On the outside again, dug out there by the Vikings, and they will not be able to get it over. They're unable to get a good ball up, but Ward tries to send it over, just put it wide. And now Welsh, left-hander opposite, back to serve. Jackets down by 1, 4-3 for the Vikings. Serves off the top of the tape, over, dug out by the Vikings. In the middle, the Bumstead, dug out by the Vikings. Outside to Bosovic, down the line, but misses it. It's a nice block by Roxburgh on that first attempt. And now we're tied up at 4. That serve is going to be an ace for Welsh. It's the first ace of the night for the Yellow Jackets. You don't see it very often. A left-handed serve can be difficult. That serve is over, dug out nicely by the Vikings. Going back to Warner. Tries to go far side, but he misses it wide. Had an opening on that angle, he just missed it. Nice run here by Walsh. 6-4 lead now for the Jackets, and his serve is over, dug out there by Way. Going outside, Bosovic tips over, and it gets out off the hand. It looked like a DJ Wong to be a point for the Vikings. As Amaral and Zach Brown check in for the Vikings. And Amaral back to serve. You also had Kyle Aker check in for the Jackets. Amaral serve is over, dug out there by the Jackets. They're going to do a 10 ball, and that got through the block. It looked like that was a triple block with Brown, Bosovic, and Bumstead. Jackets got through that block and get the point. (7-5) lead for the Jackets. That serve is over, dug out there by Brown. I'm going to set Brown up on that outside. He puts it over, dug out overpass. Bosovic, nice job of going up and tipping that one down on the overpass. 7-6 lead for the Jackets. And Megalaz is going back to serve for the Vikings. His float is over, dug out there by the Jackets. Go in the middle, tipped over, Amaral digs that one out. Go on the outside of Pedersen, tips over. Nice job finding that soft spot right behind the block by Jake Pedersen, the senior. Tied up at 7 now here in the second set. Vikings won the first one. Over, dug out there by the Jackets on that backside. And that was DJ Wong putting to the top of the net. 8-7 now for the Vikings, and assistant coach Cal South telling his Vikings to push just to extend this lead. Megalaz float is just over the net, dug out there on the outside Jackets, and they get the kill. As Rise Dawson on that outside went up and got the kill. Ties this one back up at 8. Roxbury service is into the top of the net. That's 5 service errors aside. Both sides have 5 errors between these two sets. And Brandstetter is back to serve for the Vikings. The freshman out of Germany. His servers, oh no, into the top of the net. And straight down, back-to-back service errors in this one. Ties it up at 9 with Celia Tucker. The Jackets setter back to serve. And Tucker jump serve is over, dug out there nicely by Way. On the opposite side to Brown, and he puts it on that back line. Looked like it was going off, but Brown put it on that back line perfectly. 10-9 now for the Vikings. And Will McCracken checks back in, going back to serve. Tosses up, and his jump serve is over, dug out there by the Jackets. Go outside to Dawson, tipped over, dug out there on the back line. Outside to Pedersen to go to the Viking. That's dug out. And they're going to set Jackets up in the back row. Dug out there by the Vikings. Into the middle of the hard. Nice dig to keep it alive by Wong. And he free balls going over. Vikings go to the middle of the hard again. He puts it away this time. Nice digs on both sides to keep that one alive for a while. But Jake Carter will put it away eventually. 11-9 lead for the Vikings, and McCracken still back to serve. McCracken's serve is over, dug out there by the Jackets. On that right side of Dawson, off the top of the block, and dug out there by the Vikings. Go to the backside to Warner, tips it over, kept alive there by the Jackets. Vikings won their lift, no call. On the outside to Pedersen, he puts it away. Vikings get the point anyway. Nice job there by the Vikings not to assume a lift was going to be called. And they would have put it away and get the point. 12-9 now for the... And McCracken serves just over the net, dug out nicely by the Jackets. On the outside to Welch, he puts it away with the left hand. And Dawson back to serve. And Dawson's serve is over, dug out there by the Vikings. They're going to set up for Warren on the outside, puts it over, dug out there by the Jackets. On the outside, tipped over off the top of the block, kept alive there by Hall. Sets up Warren, blocked, and nice double block by Mueller. And it looked like Wong was also up on the net for that one. And Rise Dawson still serving. 12-11 Viking lead. Jacket servers in the top of the net. 6 service errors aside in this match. Dick Patterson back to serve for the Vikings. His serve is over, dug out there by the Jackets. They set outside to Wong, puts it over, and dug out there by the Vikings. In the middle of the hall, he puts it away. Only 1 inch separates the 2 middles, but Hall looks like he's just out jumping John Mueller so far tonight. Patterson's serve is over, dug out there by the Jackets, kept alive, tipped over, no. They're going to blow it dead. This one was going to be called a lift. 15-11 now for the Vikings. And Jake Patterson still back to serve. His serve is over, dug out there, overpass, and Hall puts it away. As Colingo overpassed it, and Jake Hall knows what to do when he gets an overpass. He puts that one straight down. So timeout here for the Yellow Jackets. They're down 16-11 in this second set. They lost the first set 25-13. We said earlier the Vikings will be at home again this weekend. They will host the Viking Invitational. They will play 3 matches. Cardinal Strick on Friday night, who is currently number 8 in the country. Linwood Belleville on Saturday afternoon, and then Saturday evening, Warner University, who is number 7. So 2 big matches for the Vikings this weekend as they're trying to go for 5-0 tonight against a Graceland team that is very young and playing their first match of the season. It didn't seem like there was much talking on this Vikings sideline during that timeout, just kind of individuals talking, trying to just stay loose. As Danny Lee checks in for the first time tonight for the Yellow Jackets. As we're back to action, Jake Patterson serving for the Vikings, up 16-11. This serve is over, dug out there, close to the overpass, kept alive by the Jackets. They put it over, dug out by the Vikings. 10 ball put up, put over by the Vikings, kept alive. They'll set the outside to Wall. He gets a double block by Warren Hall up front. So Jake Hall was the one that got most of that one, but Warren will get credit for an assist block. 17-11. And Patterson still serving for the Vikings. Serves over, another ace for Jake Patterson. That is 3 for him tonight and 13 on the season, as he had 10 in Cincinnati over the weekend. Six aces for the Vikings tonight. That serve is over by Patterson, kept alive by the Jackets. They go 10 ball. The Kraken got a hand on it, tries to keep it alive, was Patterson on racing back to the curtain, but unable to do so. So the Jackets will get that point. 18-12 now for the Jackets. And Brewster is going back to serve. Brewster's float serve is over, dug out there by the Vikings. Outside to Bosovic, he will put it away. They kind of went straight into the lap of Brewster. 19-12 lead for the Vikings, and Jay Carter is back to serve. His jump server's over. Dug out there by the Kalingo. Backside to Welsh, puts it through. Nice dig there by the Vikings. Outside to Bosevic, tips it over, kept alive there by the Jackets. Set up, tipped over again. This one's kept alive. Set up in the middle, blocked, kept alive there by the Jackets. Gonna set it outside to Wong, put it over. Nice dig there by Pedersen to keep it alive, and the Vikings will free ball this one over. It almost hits the Jumbotron, does not. Welsh now on the right side, kept alive there. Nice dig by Warner. That's over. Jackets again in the middle, tipped over. Nice dig again by the Vikings. They tip it over. Jackets keep it alive. Outside to Wong, tipped over again. Pedersen, another great dig. 10 ball for Hall. He puts it over. Dig there by the Jackets. Send it outside. Tries to tip it over. But Wong tipped it wide. Great digs all around by the Vikings and Jackets on that one. And a great point for the Vikings.
I left you a little bit, and you got behind, but now you kind of settled into things a little bit.
Yeah, it was a little tough stretch there, but they were able to fight through it. Hard service, overpass. Bosewick will keep this one alive. Outside of Bosewick, double blocked and kept in. That was Welsh and Roxburgh able to double block and keep that one in. 2013 Vikings lead. Jackets back to serve, and Welsh is doing that. His jump server's over, dug out there by the Vikings. Gonna set it up to Warner, puts it over, dug out there by the Jackets. Into the middle, put it over, nice dig by Way, but unable to keep it alive after that with the Vikings.
Now Way got a hand out, he couldn't do anything with it. It was a shot toward the Viking bench. So it's 20-14, this Jacket team not going away.
And Welsh servers is over, dug out there, overpass, but the Jackets will keep this one alive. On the outside, tipped over, nice dig there by Way. Trying to set up Bosevic was McCracken, but he was running away from where he set it, so he gets called for double contact.
Vikings won the first, 25-13. They're up here 20-15 is what it should be.
And now they take that Welsh serve is over, dug out there nicely by the Vikings. Into the middle, but Bonsa puts it on top of the tape. So another nice run by Welsh, because he had one earlier in this set.
You want me to leave? It was 20-12 when I sat back down.
There's a few more points they can afford to give up. 4-point lead for the Vikings. Welsh serve is going long.
Tried to put just a little too much on that one and send it long, so it's 21-16 Valley.
It's the 7th service error for the Jackets tonight. Vikings have 6. And Amaral is back to serve. 21-16 Viking lead. And this serve is over, dug out there by the Jackets. Trying to set up a 10 ball, but a double contact called on Tucker. 22-16.
Yeah, Vikings starting to roll a little bit here after giving up 4 straight. They've scored 2 in a row, and they're up 22-16, comfortable lead.
Amaral back to serve again for the Vikings. His serve is over, dug out there by the Jackets. They go 10 ball, tipped over. Nice dig there by the Vikings. And Way's going to free ball this one over. Jackets keep that one alive. They said outside the wall. Nice dig there, but that hit the Jumbotron by Way. You just kind of let it hit him there because went over, but hit the Jumbotron, so it counts as hitting the ceiling. 22-17 Viking lead. Jackets and Wong back to serve. Tosses high, jump server's over, dug out there by the Vikings. On the outside to Brown, gets it double blocked by Roxburgh. Was the one of them, but I believe Tucker was the other one.
Now it's starting to get a little serious here, 22-18.
And Wong again back to serve. Put it over, nice dig there by the Vikings. Outside to Bosevic, put it over, tries to keep the line with Kalingo, but that went back towards the end of the basketball court and unable to save it. 23-18, 2 points away from the second set of the Vikings.
Kalingo got his left hand out, and that's about all he could do.
And Neglia is back to serve for the Vikings. Puts it over, dug out there by the Jackets. On the outside, nice put-away attack there by Dawson.
The 23-19, the Yellow Jackets hanging around, and this time it's going to be Roxburgh to serve, it looks like.
I think the Jackets need a little bit of time to warm up. They've done it here. That serve is over, dug out there by the Vikings. Opposite side to Brown. He puts it away through the block.
Good job of Zach Brown. He's out of Plainfield, Illinois, junior, 6'7".
Dawson and Mueller were both up, but that went straight through the hands of both of them.
Now we're on set point.
And Brandstetter. Thomas Brandstetter is back to serve, trying to end this second set. 24-19 lead for the Vikings. His serve is over, dug out there by the Jackets. They're set up a 10-ball, double block there. Yeah. Patterson and Haar up, and that will be that for the second set, 25-19. As Bailey takes this second one, they're up 2-0. All
right, we'll be back in just a bit with the third of 5. We get ready for the third set. Vikings won the first two, 25-13. And we're up, what were they up, 20 to 12 when I sat down, and then all of a sudden it was 20 to 16?
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that.
John Walsh just put a nice run back there from the service line. He had 2 of those in that second set.
All right. We understand we have had a few technical problems tonight, but what we're going to do is, if you are watching now, because Chaz Matty did get it, and of course it put a message up of where you can watch if you go to the regular live stream. We're going to try to get the entire match on again tomorrow on live stream if we can get that done for you as well. We missed the first set because of some technical problems. But 25-13, Vikings won the first, 25-19. And here we go in the third, and Will McCracken will serve. Vikes are 4-0 on the year. This is the first match for these very young Graceland Yellow Jackets, and the first one is a serve right into the net by McCracken, and it's 1-0 Graceland. They'll serve, and Solita Tucker will be serving. So here's Tucker's serve, sends it over. Good dig by Way, and the Vikings send it over. Dug out nicely by Kyle Aker. And now they'll get another point, so it's quickly 2-0. The Yellow Jackets, they really didn't put up much of a fight early in the first set. The second set, they battled throughout. Now all of a sudden they're up 2-0.
Yeah, that was Stephen Moore in the middle. The first time we called his name tonight. I think they've kind of changed up the line, trying to get something new going on.
Tucker will serve. Vikings down a point, and this one's going to go to the Vikings. Someone in the net? I didn't see. Lucas Werr went up for that one. 2-1. And back to serve is Jacob Pedersen. How about some of those jigs Pedersen had, that wrong volley?
That was.
And the Vikings did win that point.
Once Tiffer came diving up.
Good serve. Dug out nicely, and they'll have to free ball this one over with the Yellow Jackets. Now the Vikings go right to the middle. They've got that to Jacob Haar, 6'7" senior, La Mesa, California. He just shakes his head. That was perfect.
That's what you don't want to be on the other end of. That was so hard coming straight down.
So the Vikings scored 2 in a row. Pedersen with the serve, sends it over long, 3-2 Yellow Jackets. Tried to get a little bit more on that one and sent it long. First match of the year for the Yellow Jackets. The Vikings are 4-0. And here's the serve to the middle. And the Vikings get it again off the right hand and arm of Haar. 3-3. Back to serve is Haar. They're tied at 3 here in the third. Vikings won the first 2. R sends it over. Dug out by Wong. And now with the left hand putting it down from the right side is John Welsh. You know, Welsh is 6'3", Fort Worth, Texas, but he can get up. You look at their size, 6'7". Players not here. Most of them 6. Big Mueller 6'6". Haven't called his name much. Welsh is 6'3". Good serve, dug out nicely by Sam Bosovic. And now a point for the Vikings.
I believe Walsh was called for in the net on that one.
Well, they put it off the other side. They missed 5-3. And they put it on the wrong side. Should be 4-4, right?
Yeah, it's probably.
I think it's 4-4.
Yeah, the picture's over there telling them right now.
Yeah. Joao Amaral will serve, young man out of Rio de Janeiro. There we go. Tied at 4. Yellow Jackets get the point. They send it to their left side. And they get the kill from Danny Lee. Lee out of Maple, Ontario, Canada. 5-4, Yellow Jackets. They're trying to stay alive here in the third. Long serve, and that is out by quite a bit by John Walsh. And now coming in is Sam Kalinga. Sam was in as a libero in the first 2 sets. Playing libero in this third is Kyle Aker, the sophomore out of Eden, New York.
Yeah, he's trying to, I guess you just can't get up to if something else will work. Being the first max, I haven't really seen any of this stuff in game action.
Victor Malvillas will serve. In this 5-5 game, Vikings get the nice double block, but the Yellow Jackets keep it alive and get the point. Sending it over. DJ Wong diving for it was Ding Hui, but couldn't come up with it. 6-5, Yellow Jackets back to serve. Danny Lee.
Yeah, this third set's going back and forth. Neither side taking control.
Lee. And that high jump serve sends it over. Good dig by the Vikings. They work it. Dug out by Aker. Now back to the middle. And the point's going to go to the Yellow Jackets. I think that was Lee again. And Lee, and now it's 7-5. Jackets, I think they led by 2 in the last set, didn't they, at one time earlier?
2 or 3, yeah, possibly.
Lee will serve into the net. Boy, that can stop a rally quicker than anything. 7-6, Yellow Jackets, but the Vikings will be serving now. We won't have another live stream match for quite a while because after this weekend, when they have the tournament here, Vikings aren't home again until the 18th of February. We'll have that one. All right, Vikings trying to tie this third, and they won't do it on that point as it goes to Chris McFadden, or McFadden, and McFadden can't do anything with it. Chris, the junior out of Aurora, Illinois. So it's 8-6.
Most of those matches are going to be away or in the tournament. Still Vikings, they're in plenty of tournaments this year.
Came back from Cincinnati, win 4-0. Here's the serve, right down the line. It goes out. As Chris Roxburgh tried to send it right down the right side and went out by probably a good 8 inches. So 8-7 here in the third. Back to serve again. McCracken. Flips it up, fires it over the net. Dug out nicely by Aker. And they'll set this one. Double blocked by the Vikings. They'll have to send this one over and long and wide right. Danny Lee couldn't keep it in play. The Vikings are tied it at 8. Back to serve again is Will McCracken. And the serve is over. Dug out again. The Yellow Jackets send it over. Vikings get it right back. Lingo with the dig. Now the Vikings will send it to them. Middle. And boy, that was pancake, and they somehow kept it alone. I don't think so. Well, I thought that ball hit the floor.
Yeah, I couldn't see from...
I thought it did, but they kept playing for a while.
I think the line judge on this near side was kind of saying that it was down.
Yeah. Aker just about made a heck of a play, but the Vikings up 9-8.
Exactly, Yellow said he could not really have an angle through all the bodies like that, or not.
They let it go, a couple more passes, now into the net. There's the serve by Will McCracken, so it's 9-9 here in the third.
It's also the service errors for both sides tonight, each side at 9.
So Ada Tucker will send it over. And the Vikings work it to their right side, and they get the kill. And going up for that one was Thomas Brandstetter, young man out of Germany. 10-9, Valley back on top. Kovacevic, Chris will come in. He's out of Ozark, Missouri. And back to Sir Pedersen. Pedersen sends it over. Dug out by Aker. Yellow Jackets work it to the right side. And they're going to get that point as Ding Hui got his hands on. That came up and over our heads and landed about 5 feet behind us. We're tied at 10. Now, if I'd have sent that back and we'd have free balled it over, would it have counted?
Probably not. Boswick was coming over there trying to help it out.
All right. Wong will serve in this tie third set. Vikings take care of that. Think it over. Har keeps it alive. Now they'll work it to Bosovic. He sends it over. The Yellow Jackets are there. They go to the middle, and they're going to get the point. As again diving for it, but unable to come up with it was Way. The 11-10 Yellow Jackets decided to warm up a little bit. Playing pretty well right now.
This young team that hasn't played them back yet just took a while for them to get used to playing with each other.
Good point. That was their first match of the year, and that sometimes takes you a little while. Here's the serve. Block. Vikings will have to free ball this one over. Yellow Jackets playing with quite a bit of intensity right now. They send this one over. Vikings keep it alive. And Bosovic sends it down the line. Well, this dug out nicely. Double block by the Vikings. Power was in. Bosovic was there. Almost a triple block.
I think Warner actually
was there
right
as
side, and I think Warner actually got his hands on it.
11-all.
Good heads-up play by Warner to know he was going to go cross court, so he cheated over and took that one away.
And Jacob Har now will serve, sends it over, and that goes out. And a good job by John Welsh. He just kind of backed away and let it fall harmlessly out of the playing surface. 12-11. Yellow Jackets with a lead. They're trying to extend their stay in Marshall tonight. Rooster sends it over. Bosovic gets the dig, and then he comes back to get the kill from the left side. 12-all.
Bosovic is only listed at 6 foot, but he can jump as high as anybody, so it gives him an advantage going up.
Joao Amaral will serve. And he sends it over. This one is wide as Danny Lee, and you talk about not very big, Danny Lee, 5'10". He gets up, but he sent that one wide. Vikings back up now, 13-12. Seesaw match, as James said, here in the third. Joao to serve it. A hard serve. Dug out nicely by Wong, and down the line again. There's John Welsh. I tell you, that left-hander he's kind of thin, but got a lot of power.
Does, and Way was taking away that line shot, so Welsh just kind of went right exactly where Way was.
We're tied at 13. Left-hander. Nice dig by the Vikings. And now they will get the kill from Zach Brown, 6'7", junior. Plainfield, Illinois, winds up from the left side and sends it cross court, 14-13.
I guess because the Vikings took charge in both the first 2 sets. Not surprising since this rivalry normally would go 5.
Goyes with the serve. The Yellow Jackets do a nice job, and they get it over the net, but it goes out. It'll be a Viking point. That thing hit the top tape, and it kind of rolled across the net, the top of the tape, and then went out. 15-13. Again, the middle, double block by the Vikings. Yellow Jackets send it over to their left. They'll dig it over, and going up to get it was Bumstead. They timed it perfectly, didn't they? They didn't get it over that hard. He was right up there, apex, and he sent it back down.
It might have been only when he was coming back down, he was just able to keep his hand just above the tape.
Now timeout taken by Graceland, the Yellow Jackets. Again, we will let you know if we decide to put the entire match on live stream tomorrow. You are watching it now. Thanks to some work by Chaz Maddie, but unable to get a regular connection to start. We did have most of the second and third for you. Vikings won the first 25-13, 25-19. We'll have basketball for you Thursday night, but we'll work on that tomorrow. And when we get it all completed for you, we'll let you know and probably send out an email, make some phone calls, have the players make some phone calls or whatever. If we put the whole match on live stream again, so you can watch it again. So we'll see, kind of decide what we need to do with that.
It's kind of a shame that the Manvik, with the volleyball conference, had to realign all the divisions. Took these two teams out of the division. Now they're only going to play probably twice a year instead of a conference tournament as well.
Melgo Yaz with the serve. Sent over by the Yellow Jackets. Vikings get it back, and again, from the right side of Zach Brown, 17-13. Vikings have opened up a 4-point lead. Good serve to the net. Sent over. Nice dig by Valley. And down the line, this one hits the antenna. So the point will go to the Yellow Jackets. That was Brandstetter trying to put it right down the line, but pretty obvious instead of the antenna.
Yeah, obviously King direction on that one.
So back to serve, Danny Lee. Fires it over. Dug out by Brandstetter. Vikings working to the right side. Brown. Dug out nicely by the Yellow Jackets. So they'll send it deep. Vikings keep it alive. Brandstetter has this one double blocked. Oh, yeah, the Vikings have free ball this one over. Good job by Magarios to keep it alive. Good volley point going here. The Vikings trying to get the point, but it's going to be free balled over nicely by the Yellow Jackets. Now the Vikings will work it to their right. Send it over. It's blocked, and a point goes to Shalila Tucker. Shalila Tucker gets the clean block, 17-15.
It's about second and third time tonight that Tucker's been up there alone and still got the block. It's a great dig on this back line by Lee during that volley.
So Danny Lee now. Send it over. And Brandstetter, oh, what a pretty play. He just softly arched that over a couple of the Graceland defenders. It's 18-15.
I know that he's far off the net, and he saw it. It was backed up, so he just tipped it straight over. No man's land.
Back to serve. McFadden sends it over. Blocked by the Vikings, but the kill will go to Rice Dawson. Vikings blocked it, but it sent it out on the right side. 18-16. Back to serve is DJ Long. The Yellow Jackets need to put together a little run here. Down by 2. Here's the serve. Should be handled nicely by the Vikings. Oh, it was. You could see that coming. That was a nice little soft serve, and they set that up perfectly for Jacob Haar.
That looked like they were trying to hide Haar on that outside, and he slid into the middle at the last minute to hit that one down.
Man.
Hard to hide a 6'7" guy, though, that nobody's in the middle.
Yeah. McCracken will serve his club up 19-16, trying to end this thing in 3 sets. Here's the serve. It's over. Yellow Jackets. They'll take it over. Oh, what a great job by McCracken to keep it alive, and the Vikings get the point off the right arm of Lucas Ware. But give McCracken about half that kill for that great dive to keep that alive.
Yeah, he read that tip perfectly and just came diving in. Kept it alive, and a nice setup to Ware to get that kill.
20-16. And just as I brag on the young man, he puts it right in the net and make it 20-17. Vikings up by 3, though. Late third set. Shalia Tucker will serve. Turnabout's fair play. He puts it in the net. And really, the Yellow Jackets could ill afford to have that at that point in time. It's 21-17. We'll have a quick visit with coach after the match. Brad Holt in his 3rd year. All right, Patterson with 4 points away from winning this match. Sends it over. And he'll get an ace.
I believe that's 4 of them now on the night for Patterson.
22-17. Timeout taken by the Yellow Jackets. It's late in the 3rd. They're down by 5 now. And the Vikings are just 3 points away from a 3-0 sweep. And again, as we talked about several times tonight, this Graceland squad, very, very young for Coach Chad McDowell. They have one senior, and that is libero Sam Kalingo. They have, that's about it. Everybody else, they have a couple of juniors. John Welsh is a junior. And Chris Gibley, who did not play, we haven't had him in very much anyway, who's a junior. Everybody else sophomore and freshman. So this is a young squad.
And the Vikings will be up at Graceland in a couple weeks on February 4th for another match. And with this experience that they're getting tonight, and the matches in between, because they did one up there.
Here's Pedersen. Sends it over. Vikings 3 points away, but they're not going to get it right. Here's a good kill from the middle by Stephen Moore. Stephen, there's a little height, 6'7", Scottsdale, Arizona, went to Desert Mountain High School. DJ Wong will serve. This Graceland club's hanging in there. Sends it over. Dug out nicely. Vikings get the kill. And that's Swirl from the right side. A couple of years, it'll be a little bit different, won't it? It will. With Graceland, not Graceland, but Grandview and William Penn coming in. And now coming in for the Vikings, Stephen Story, 6'3" freshman, San Jose, California. R will serve 2 points away from the match. Double block. Vikings are now 1 point away from the match.
Yeah, I think Story got up there. He might have got his hands on that one. It was either Story or Warner. Warner's had a nice night.
Yes, he has.
Got some kills off that right side.
24-18, match point here for Jacob Haar. It's over, dug out. Yellow Jackets, block, match. And once again, coming in, Stephen Story was around this one. 4 again. Boy, he had quite a match. Again, we had a few technical problems tonight, but thanks to the hard work of Chaz Matty, did get a lot of this on for you. Alternate side, I guess, on the live stream, and we'll get that corrected. We do have basketball coming up, and possibly tomorrow. We'll just have to see how it goes. If we could get everything worked out, we might put this match on again tomorrow night, at least an edited version of it, and let you see some of this tonight. I was pretty impressed, James.
Yeah, it's an impressive team. It's the team that can do many things in this season.
And now they go. If you're going to be in the area this weekend, the Vikings will host a tournament. As Coach Holt got a tournament together. The Vikings will take on Cardinal Switch Friday at 8, then Saturday Lindenwood Belleville at 1, and Warner University at 5. So if you want to come on out and see a little bit of good college volleyball, NAI college volleyball, this might be the thing to do this coming.
I know this team would like it if they would come out there in the area. That Cardinal Switch and Warner, 2 highly ranked teams that will be very fun games to watch and very difficult for the Vikings.
All right, we're going to get the coach over here in just a couple minutes, and we'll talk to him. Well, Coach, we had a few technical glitches, but we got the second and third sets on for you, and hopefully tomorrow we may put the whole thing back on live stream. But I was kind of impressed with your squad tonight. You've got some veterans out there that know how to play this game.
We do. Big-time senior leadership, and then our newbies aren't really newbies. They've played a lot competitively, and we got a couple of junior college kids that have played already 2 years in college. So we're just trying to figure out what the right rotation is here early in the year, and make sure we're putting our people in the right positions.
I was impressed tonight with Lucas Werr and, of course, Jacob Har. I thought in the middle, those guys on that front line, those guys had a pretty good night.
Jacob Har is our workhorse, and if we can pass the ball, which is one of our stronger points, we feel, and we can get him involved offensively, he's going to have a great year. He had one last year, so we look to him to be a big force for us. All
right, now you have a tournament. You've got the MVC Invitational. The people in the area, they should come out. There's going to be some really good volleyball Friday and Saturday.
Yeah, first time we've hosted a men's tournament, and it'll be all day starting at noon on Friday and then starting at 9 on Saturday. And 6 teams, and 5 of the 6 are ranked in the top 10 nationally. So
wow,
it's going to be some good volleyball.
So you just didn't bring in teams you can beat. You brought in some of the best.
No, it's going to be a good one, and there should be some really intense matches, and hopefully we can get a couple wins here.
Look, Coach, this Yellow Jacket club, they're very, very young. You knew that coming in. He does a good job. They're just a very young team. It was their first match, but with credit to your bunch, you came out, did what you had to do, and that was to take this thing and take control of this thing.
Chad does a great job, and I respect him as a coach, and he's going to get them doing the right things.
Yeah.
And it's going to take a little bit of time, but they got some good young players, and I feel like it's not going to be too much longer. We played them 4 more times actually this year, so I told my group we got to get it while we can, and hopefully the next 4 will be the same. But it's hard to beat somebody 5 times.
All right, Coach, thanks for stopping by. And we did have some technical problems early on, but we got most of the match on, and we may even run the whole thing and get them out. We'll see what we have to do. But appreciate you coming by and putting up with us.
I appreciate it.
All right, thanks, buddy.
Bye.
So there you have it. Brett Holt, the coach of the Vikings. And again, the final 3-0 as the Vikings win it. And thanks to Chaz Matty, our live stream crew did have a few problems, but we were rolled through and got some of it figured out. We hope didn't inconvenience you too much tonight. We'll do it again. Thursday night we have basketball. But stay tuned. We may put this out again tomorrow. We'll just see how it all works out with live stream. For James O'Sullivan, I'm Ken Fuyata. Good night from Marshall.